Hey guys, this is Tom, and if you're new to my channel, I make videos that help you empower your higher self and manifest your dream life. In this video, I'm going to be covering the topic of how to manifest a passionate job that already exists. So whilst I have nothing wrong with the entrepreneurial path and starting up your own business, I think that's a very empowering path to take. We're just not focusing on that today. This is about transforming your 9-to-5 job into something that brings you joy and passion and excitement every week. Is this possible? Absolutely yes. And I am living proof that you can actually manifest a job you're passionate about without starting your own business. These jobs do exist, and the more you know and understand the manifestation process, the more likely you'll be able to bring this to life in your waking reality. So I'm going to cover my story first up, but then after that we're going to go through the specific tips on how you can do this yourself, including the most powerful manifestation practices I know, and then we're also going to cover some theory and also some very important tips and signs that this is working for you and that your passionate job is going to manifest very soon in your life. Okay, so let's begin on my story. Well, it goes back to really early 2018. I just moved out for the first time, and I had this real desire to live a passionate life, a fulfilling life, a powerful life, one where I was impacting others and really waking up to a job that really fulfilled me and was making a positive difference. I could never really accept that cookie-cutter kind of job, the 9-to-5 office job stereotype. It just didn't suit my personality. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with that type of job. So for me, I was reading all these personal development books. I was going to meet up events, and I actually met a mentor of mine who is a success mindset development coach. And so she started to pass on law of attraction ideas to me and plant these seeds and ideas about manifestation. But really we got to almost August of that year, and no matter how many books I was reading, no matter how many positive habits I was building, nothing was really clicking. I couldn't seem to really get that momentum off the ground in terms of my career. And at the time, I was working 2 jobs. One was as a dog walker, that was part-time, and that was actually a pretty positive, albeit tiring job to have. And the other was in a bottle shop, and had quite a toxic work environment there for various reasons. But nonetheless, I was very unfulfilled, and I was actually quite desperate to get out of this situation. I was in a negative state indeed in this situation. So once I hit breaking point, I decided, right, I'm going to apply these manifestation practices for real. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do them daily, and I'm going to persist. So I started. 2 weeks later, sure enough, I get a phone call from my dad, and he says, there's an opening at my job in the IT company I work at, and they're looking for a junior person to start, and I put your name down. The job is yours, you just have to come in and meet my boss, just to talk to him, meet him, and just make sure you're the right fit. So I didn't want to work in IT particularly, but I thought this is a step up. And my dad also happened to say, you'll be earning 4 times the income that you are right now, and that was sort of compelling, I must admit, at that time. So I went to the interview, I got the job, and all of a sudden, within 3 weeks, I'm finding myself in a completely new environment, around all these people that are a decade or more older than me in IT, having no background, no degree in this industry whatsoever. So that was interesting, but it wasn't quite right. I wanted a passionate, fulfilling job that aligned with my calling in life, that sense of mission. And this wasn't quite it. So I kept doing these techniques, I kept doing these practices, I kept expanding my understanding and study of the law of attraction. And a couple of months later, that woman I met at the personal development company got in contact with me and said she's starting up this new idea around her company where she's getting ambassadors to help promote the business. Now this was still not a full-time job by any means, it was more of a volunteer type of thing, but really I just started getting involved because it was a positive movement. So about a month or 2 after attending these group meetings, I saw there were various things that she was juggling, all these responsibilities, that was a perfect fit for me to sort of take over and support her and build up this positive business together. She thought it was a great idea, she was thinking it was perfect timing for her, things like that. But it wasn't for me. I still had 2 months left on my contract. So she said, look, it's not going to work. I'm going to hire someone else because I need someone right now. We're in a very growth-oriented time. So this is unfortunately not going to work out between us. So I, at that point, felt like I had this passionate job right in the palm of my hands, and it just slipped away right at that crucial moment, just from a month or two being misaligned in timing. But I kept persisting. I kept this faith that it was all working out, this idea that I was aligning with my purpose and my passion, and that it was still on my way. And then, well, the great news was about a month passed after that, and she said she couldn't actually end up hiring someone that was quite right. She tried a couple of people, it wasn't right, the job was still open. Do you want this? And moreover, she said my offices are moved too, and I didn't hear the suburb she said. And I thought, hang on, that suburb sounds way away from where I'm moving to, because I was moving houses. So I said, oh look, I'm actually moving to this suburb. I don't know if this is within distance. And she said, that's the suburb I said. I've just bought 1 year worth of office leases in the suburb that you're moving to. That's a 5-minute walk away from your new house. And I was dumbfounded by that coincidence. It all lined up and the job was mine. I finished my contract about 2 weeks early, and all of a sudden I found myself working in these offices that are more like Google type of offices. They're co-sharing space, very modern, very progressive workplaces with lots of local businesses, and it's a very dynamic environment. We have a coffee shop that's literally on our floor, and it's just an amazing working space to be. Not to mention the company that I'm in, where we're really helping impact others. Now, this isn't related to this channel. This is more of a personal hobby of mine to film these videos, but that happened for me, and I couldn't have foreseen this possibility back in August of 2018. So that's my manifestation story, as long as that took to tell. I think it's important because it can kind of show you that this does unfold, and it is possible for you to find this passionate career that you're after. Okay, so where do you begin? Well, firstly, you need to know that you don't need to know everything on how this is going to unfold. You don't need to know whether the job exists. You don't need to know what location the job's in, or what sector in the workforce this job is in as well. You just need to have that desire, and that's where it begins. So, to set this up, you need 2 components really. You need a why and a what. This is going to shape your manifestation, because this is not a traditional type of manifestation. We have a very specific image of what you're trying to create. This is a more vague, up in the air, open experience that you're trying to merge with in your everyday life. So that's why it's important to ground it in a strong, positive foundation. So that's your why. This is your deeper values in life, your deeper motivation. You just need to spend some time, whether it's 30 to 60 minutes, really just asking yourself, what motivates me about life? Why do I want a passionate career? Maybe it's for the value of freedom, or impact, or love, or goodness, or honor, or creativity, or self-expression. You need to identify what these values are for you that really motivate you and really inspire you to want to have this type of career. So spend some time getting involved with that, because that's going to really hold you grounded and with great faith and knowing throughout this process. So that's your why. And then your what. That is the specifics. Now, I know you can't get exactly specific in terms of what the job is, but you can say things around the job. So maybe you want to have 1 day off a week, or maybe you want to work within walking distance of your house, or maybe you want to be earning this amount of money, or having this amount of holidays, or feeling this way, or maybe you'll be able to get some specifics about your lifestyle that will be able to change. So maybe you'll be able to eat out more, maybe you'll have more time for friends, and those kind of things. Form some specific parameters upon which this job must fit into. So this criteria, try and get some specifics about the what of this new career lifestyle that you want to manifest. So you want to spend really 30-60 minutes on these questions to really ground what you're after, what you're looking to create. Now we move to the manifestation practices. And there are really two game changers in this. I read a ton of different manifestation techniques, but really there are two key ones that you need to know. So one is from Neville Goddard, and that's his 4-step imagination process. And the other is a Bob Proctor idea that's also got a number of other teachers that teach very similar things, such as Dr. Joe Dispenza. But really this is about reprogramming your subconscious mind using a desire tape. Now, I've got specific videos on both of these techniques for more details, but they both require one key thing, and that's, in the Neville Goddard imagination process, a specific scene with detail that outlines your life if and only if you'd achieve your manifestation. So again, in this case, it might be a simple scene of you waking up in your bed on a Monday morning with a sense of fulfillment in your heart as you go off to work, and you maybe do a few things in this really short scene. Or it could be you enjoying a nice meal with that sense of fulfillment that it's the middle of the week and that you have to get up tomorrow, but you're passionate about that and you're excited. So it can be anything around this passionate job without having to be too specific about the job itself. But of course, if you want to picture the office you're in, or picture the little clothes you're wearing, or picture yourself looking in the mirror smiling on the Monday morning, any of this is good, but you're going to create a scene. And with the desire tape is about a few set of thoughts and beliefs that describe your new life with this passionate job. It begins in present tense with I am so happy and grateful now that, and you follow on with some sentences such as I am financially free. I wake up every day with passion in my heart and excitement to go into work. I am impacting others positively and I love my job. It brings so much fulfillment to my life. So those are some example sentences that you're going to record onto your phone to listen to each day. Now, I recommend watching both of those videos. I'll put links in the description for more information there. So once you have built these two manifestation practices, you're going to be following them daily and sticking to them. So with the imagination, that means going off into a room where you can get into the present moment and you can imagine your scene in the present tense, first person state, and bring that scene to life. And as soon as you play it out once, you start again and again and again until the timer goes off. And then with your desire tape, you want to be listening to those series of beliefs and thoughts about your new self-image, having this dream career. And you want to be listening to that on a daily basis. And as you do so, feeling into the world, feeling into that truth as the new you every day without missing a day. That's absolutely crucial for both of these habits. So in total, you may be doing about 5 to 20 minutes of manifestation work per day, depending on how long you spend on each one of these. Ideally, between 5 to 10 minutes on both. So these are your practices. And as you do this, you are going to see some amazing things start to shift in your life. So what's actually happening here when you use these techniques, and how does this relate to your manifestation coming to life? Well, some crucial things happening. Firstly, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. This is the 95% of you that resides outside of your conscious awareness and your thinking mind. These are your fundamental beliefs about your identity, about what's possible for you. It also houses the series of habits that you act out on a daily basis, such as how you get out of bed in the morning, how you deal with other people, the kinds of thoughts you have, whether you're a glass half full person. All of these things are affected and housed in the subconscious mind. And by reprogramming it with these images and with these new beliefs, you're going to start to see yourself and act in a very different way. And that's going to start creating some very tangible new results in your life. That's the key thing. But also it's going to change your state of being. Because as you connect to these new beliefs and these new images, you're going to start to forget that they're simply creations of your own mind. You're going to start to believe they're true. You're going to start to believe that the thoughts are beliefs that are just as part of you as an equation such as 1 + 1 = 2. They're going to become almost boring for you because you're going to become so immersed in them, and that's when you know it's really working. Same goes for the scenes. You're going to visualize this scene so much, bring so much sensory vividness into the scene, that you start to forget whether it actually happened in the past, whether it is a real event in your life, or whether you actually did create it. And then that's another sign that you're starting to really immerse your entire state of being in this new identity with these images and with these new beliefs. So in a sense, you're changing your state of being. Your state of being is a conglomerate of your thoughts, your actions and emotions. All of these are going to start to positively shift and align with this manifestation coming true. But also part of your state of being, it's really your emotional state, and your state of emotion is also your state of vibration. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in his books, your state of being in this emotional state actually emits a measurable energy field that your body is in. So as you increase your vibratory state of being, you go into higher and higher frequencies of emotions. And as I brought up this chart before, this is David Hawkins' chart of consciousness, the different levels of consciousness. As you can see, the more you associate with these beliefs and images, the more your baseline state of being, your state of consciousness, your emotions, it's going to start to rise and rise and rise and rise, such that you're going to be having an emotional set point that gets higher and higher up on this chart. So you're going to start to experience things like passion and love and joy consistently, and that of course harmonizes with the reality in which your passionate job exists. So as you increase this state of being, you're increasing your point of attraction. Now, we can get into a debate of whether the law of attraction is about you becoming a magnet that magnetizes this job to you, or whether you're more of a infinite being that has this ability to create their own reality with their beliefs and imagination, and you're expanding into this other part of you, this other dimension of your consciousness. Whatever the way it works, basically you are tuning your entire frequency, your entire being to align with this job. And of course, that's when it shows up, is when you're so immersed in it, you're actually experiencing the thoughts, the emotions and the actions of having that job, of having that new way of life, before it even shows up, that as it shows up in your life, you've so vividly experienced it already that it can just seamlessly come in. And you can welcome it and greet it like an old friend that you've already known for some time now, because in your reality, in your internal world, that actually is the truth. So that's the whole process. Now let me read a quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and this is sort of from a quantum physics perspective. So it's a nice balance for those of us that are spiritual and those of us that are more scientific. His explanation sort of falls straight in the middle to explain what is going to be happening as you become more aligned with your dream, passionate job. So here's the quote. "You can tune your attention and energy into an unknown field beyond matter where all possibilities exist. A field made up of nothing but invisible frequencies carrying information or consciousness. All possibilities exist as electromagnetic potentials in the quantum field. You cannot experience them with your senses because they don't yet exist in this space and time. They exist only as frequency or energy carrying information that has to be tuned into and observed into space and time. And in order for you to do this properly, you're going to have to connect to that information with your energy and intention. Observing a potential in the quantum is just like becoming aware of your hand in the physical world. You're already connected to it. It already exists. Tuning into the energy of your future and intentionally observing that potential in the quantum then causes infinite fields of energy to collapse into particles called a quantum event, and that becomes an experience that can then manifest in your physical three-dimensional world. Remember, emotion is energy in motion, and elevated emotions carry a higher frequency than survival emotions. So if you want to create a change, you have to do it from a high level of energy. The more elevated the emotion you feel, the greater the energy you broadcast, and the more influence you will have on the material world of matter. And the greater your energy, the shorter amount of time it takes for your manifestation to appear in your life. So as the quote is suggesting, it's about changing your state of being, which is your electromagnetic signature. And this includes your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, such that they all align and fully accept this idea that you have this dream job, this passionate job in this present moment right now. Now, here are some essential tips when applying these manifestation techniques and going through the whole manifestation process at large, because there are nuances here that are really important, and if you miss this, you may fall off track or actually block the very career, the very job from entering in your life. So listen to these carefully. Number one is to keep the faith, and that's faith with a capital F. It's a sense of knowing that the law of attraction is true and that your internal world is your truth. This is about shutting off the five senses, and when you go into your current job or when you deal with anything in your current life, it's about blocking out that and saying that's not evidence. So if it's an annoying colleague that says something to set you off, it's about having that awareness to say, no, but I'm in a passionate job. I discount that. That's not true. My inner world is true. Remain faithful and persistent in your manifestation, not your external world. Number two is daily persistence in your practices. This is also crucial because reprogramming the subconscious mind takes repetition. It is also very easy to fall off one day and then from that fall off several days in a row, such that you can even lose your entire momentum in this manifestation process. It's happened to me. I've been on day 60 in doing these practices on a daily basis, and I fell off one day. Life got in the way, somehow I got distracted, and somehow I got pulled back into my old self, my own old ways of thinking, my old patterns, and I lost that momentum, and it can be quite devastating to realize you've got to build that all up again. So really commit to these daily practices. Okay, so number three, discomfort is good. If you're doing these exercises and you're really immersing yourself in this new way of life, in this new you, with your passionate job as part of that reality, you're going to start to feel some discomfort. And this is because your old self, your old way of life, your old belief systems and patterns are getting transferred onto this new life track in which this passionate job exists. And of course, it's not just about a passionate job, it's about you as a person changing to align with this job. And that shifting process can be uncomfortable. But if you're feeling discomfort, if you're feeling lack of motivation suddenly, or you're feeling a bit fearful or anxious or just off and you can't think straight, like you got fog, a cloud of fog around your mind, so to speak, that's a fantastic sign. That's when you know it's really taking root. It's about persisting again with your daily practices through this discomfort. So that's actually a sign that you're doing something right. But if you encounter this and you can kind of be feeling unexplainably off and not like your old self, or not like your new self in particular, just this weird in-between uncomfortable state, you can actually be intimidated by it and it can sway you off. But not if you know that that's actually one of the best signs in this entire process. Tip number 4 is prepare for shit tests. And this is where reality likes to test your commitment to your new way of life with your passionate job. Now, I don't want to scare anyone. These tests aren't going to horrifically change your life, but they can be randomly intense and sudden. So for example, just before I got the formal offer for my job, that I was expecting that on a Friday, on Thursday, my boss of my current IT job pulled me away for coffee and offered me an extension of my contract with a pay rise. In fact, he didn't even offer it to me. He assumed I would take it. Like I was so passionate about this IT job and he couldn't, in his mind, see any reason why I wouldn't accept it. And I was already thinking, oh crap, I'm about to tell this guy that I'm quitting. And he put me in this situation of absolute guilt because I couldn't actually say I had this other job because I didn't have it actually confirmed. But I couldn't let him down either, so I sort of had to nod my head, and it put me in this state of frenzy. It really shook me up. But of course, I managed to pull through. I managed to stick to this overall sensation that things worked out. And of course, I was able to quit anyway, even after this conversation, and he took it very well. So those are the sorts of things that can be shit tests. They're often just minor nuisances rather than bigger things, but it's important to know that these things will come up from time to time, and it's almost like an opportunity to laugh and to have a joke about this process and to say, nice try, Mr. Universe. I am still absolutely grounded in what I know is my truth, and that is that I have this passionate job. So a minor note is don't go around expecting these and looking out for them and worrying if they're going to appear, these shit tests. It's more just have that idea that this can seem like a all over the place pattern when actually it's completely working seamlessly from your higher self's vantage point. And the next one is be flexible, be open. So no expectations about how it should happen. It should be this job and should happen this way, and A, B, C, D, E are the steps it should follow. If you're doing that, you're going to be having your attention over here, whereas there's an opportunity right there that you can't see because you've got blind spots on, that if you just turn to that and followed that, it would lead you right to this passionate job so much more seamlessly. Follow that good feeling, follow the high vibration state of being first and foremost, rather than anything else. Trust that intuition and just be open and playful, and just again return to that knowing, that absolute unshakable faith that this is true for you. That's all that matters at the end, and then follow that feeling everywhere. You'll actually find that the more linear in your thinking, the more analytical you become over this process, the more you actually block it, the more odd things show up that throw you even more on a downward spiral and off that state of alignment with your manifestation. And you will just learn through your own trial and error that it's better just to stick first and foremost with that state of being. That is the truth anyway. And finally, give it time. Really, the beautiful thing about manifestation, especially when you blend it with spirituality, is that you're actually whole, worthy and complete and full of absolute unconditional love right here and now. It's a spiritual truth that it can take some time to truly realize, and it has infinite depth to it. But combine it with a manifestation like this that's full of passion and joy. When you tap into these states of being, when you tap into this manifestation, to this dream life, this dream job, as well as your own inner self-love and spiritual nature, spiritual essence, it doesn't even need to actually show up, because the emotions are as good as the actual thing itself, especially when they're incredibly potent, as they certainly can be when you're doing your practices. So have patience with it, just savor the emotion, bring it to life right now so you can actually start enjoying it straight away. And of course, as you do so, it actually then shows up. It's always the paradox, is when you fully accept it, such that you're not desperate for it, you're not hungry for it, you're not in this state of lack, it comes in. So feel it right now, give your permission to just enjoy it right now. Of course, there is no specific time limit. For me, it was 8 months from the situation when I first started this technique, and I went through jumping out of 2 jobs into this dream job. It could be as little as 2 weeks for you. It could be as long as me. There's no real time to say how long this manifestation seed will sprout and grow until it's ready for you to enjoy. It's just about enjoyment, faith in the process. Alrighty, that's all my steps. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said before, I've got much more in-depth theoretical understanding of the law of attraction and manifestation in my other videos, as well as those 2 techniques in particular broken down in greater detail. So I'll leave all those links, or check out my channel. But if you like this video, please like it, please share it, please let me know a comment with your ideas or your video suggestions, and subscribe to my channel. Alrighty guys, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.